Professor Sir Cary Cooper has done a lot of work in the area of well-being. Well-being is a concept which travels across all segments of society and all fields of academic study, research, and work. Well-being is the objective of human effort, whether it be in companies, whether it be in families, whether it be in dealing with customers or suppliers. This is a holistic concept which is the foundation of the work How to Prevent Recession using ancient wisdom and management ideas. Ancient wisdom thought of well-being as a holistic concept, and in the well-being of the individual lies the well-being of the firm. In the well-being of the firm lies the well-being of society. So when the individual looks at the well-being of the firm as his objective, and when the firm looks at the well-being of society as an objective, not only is well-being created for everybody, but recession is also prevented as a byproduct. Professor Sir Cary Cooper's work is pointing towards this direction, and I'm requesting him for his opinion and his views in this matter.
Yeah, I think absolutely that the well-being agenda globally now is on the rise. Indeed, it was the World Economic Forum was talking about resilience and well-being not too long ago, and it has a global agenda council called Mental Well-being and Health. So even the World Economic Forum is interested in the whole notion of mental well-being, and I think it's really important for all of us. But we even have in the UK government an assessment of national well-being done every quarter by the Office of National Statistics, measured among hundreds of thousands of people what's their well-being. Then we've had a number of years ago the Bhutan Declaration in the UN General Assembly, where 79 countries signed up to the Bhutan Declaration, saying that we should be measuring gross national well-being and not just GDP. So the whole notion of well-being, I think, has come out of the recession. I think this is really significant now, that people are interested in, as a country, our success is to what extent we enhance people's contentment and well-being. And that partly is measured by GDP, that we're productive, but it's also measured by how life satisfied we are, how satisfied we are with work, with life, our family life, our communities, and everything else. This is the big agenda, and this is what many countries in the world are now pursuing.
You're also a professor of business as well as a professor of health. So when you're looking at health, you're looking at economic health of the nation, economic health of the firm, economic health of the individual, as well as when you are a professor of business, you're looking at how does all this converge into business. The work How to Prevent Recession shows through 100-odd diagrams how all this well-being converges into an academic theory of management. What are your views on this?
Well, the evidence is mounting. I did a book called Wellbeing, Productivity, and Happiness at Work. We started to review the data. And the data shows that if you create a well-being culture, you'll reduce sickness absence, labor turnover, you'll enhance productivity, although we have less research on productivity. So we need to see what the impact of well-being is on the bottom line to convince senior executives about this. But the evidence is beginning to even amount on that. But we know if you create a culture where people feel valued, trusted, have autonomy and control over their job, feel reasonably job secure, they will produce for you, and they certainly won't get ill. And so the evidence is mounting. We have some way to go, because we have to measure what the impact of this kind of a culture, a workplace culture, would have on the actual performance and productivity of people. There are a few studies on that, too few studies, but more will come.
Professor Lipton in the 80s, when he was working in Stanford, started what could be the early thought in the field of epigenetics. where he said that if human thought is well directed, then even the DNA of the person can change. Uh, Ancient wisdom always used education to direct human thoughts towards very productive, which were socially productive goals. Uh, this was the contribution of ancient wisdom, as you could see in Rudyard Kipling's poem If. And the ancient thought that if you send your child to a good school like Eton and Harrow, they will make a man out of him. Our, if our businesses, if our schools could produce men like what ancient wisdom
And
visualized,
women.
and women, uh, like ancient wisdom visualized, recession could be prevented. What would be your thoughts on this?
Well, I think we know for sure that if you experience stress in life, it can harm your immune system. There's lots of evidence now that stress can lead to ill health, serious ill health, heart disease, and lots of research being done on cancer now, and the link between just leading a stressful life and what impact it might have on you and your health. So I think it's certainly the case that creating a culture which has less stress in it, and one in which people have better balance in their life, balance between work and their life, and balance just generally, it's likely to create cultures in which we're going to be much more productive. But we have a lot more to teach senior people about that, even though personally they know it to be the case. And I think the reason is, before the recession, people were into making lots of money, into materialism and all of that, accumulation of wealth, and the economies were growing throughout the world. And then the recession came. So here are people who committed themselves, worked long hours, gave up family time and everything else. All of a sudden, they're losing their jobs in massive numbers. So I think what the good news, I think, about the recession, frankly, was it made people think about what was really important. So here I am committing myself before 2008 to everything, to my job, but not to my family, not to my own personal satisfaction, just to get more and more and move up the greasy pole, higher up the hierarchy. Recession comes and tons of people lost their jobs, tens of millions of people across the globe. And then, people started to think, is this what life's about? Funny enough, I think the recession was very healthy from that point of view. It made us reflect on what is important. And what is important is relationships, having a sense of purpose, treating other people in a way you'd like your own children to be treated. So I think there's been a massive change since the recession. And now companies are trying to retain people. And the way they're retaining them is by creating well-being environments. So the recession has moved us in the right direction. We don't need another recession again, though, because that was devastating. I think we've kind of learned our lesson. But treating human beings the way you would, treating other human beings the way you'd want your own children to be treated is the way I look at life and the way I think all of us should. But I think in the end, if you treated everybody like you'd want your own daughter or son to be treated, we'd all be in a better place.
So may I say that what you're saying is that all of us, whether all of us are humans, and whether we look at customers, or we look at employees, or we look at our suppliers down the supply chain, we should have a feeling of empathy and oneness with them.
Yeah.
We should treat them as we would treat ourselves. So the business should not cheat its customers, just as you would not cheat your employees. So this kind of give and take, this feeling of unity that we have, and if business emerges from this, that would be the best way to prevent recession.
Absolutely. It's the way we treat other
That's what
people.
the book is saying.
That's great.